Hello, everybody. This is Valerie Kinney, your host. And as you know, I love talking about my favorite subject matter, how to live and thrive in the rich flow of life. Today, our featured guest is Amy Simatos. Amy is a 5-star Amazon author, and very soon you're going to see why. Her book is entitled From Zero to Sales Hero, How to Double Your Sales and Income in Less Than 90 Days. Let me tell you just a little bit about Amy because, boy, it's hard not to. She is a very lovely, lively, spirited, joyful, and powerful woman of distinction. And I'm so blessed that she's come to share all of that power and enthusiasm with us here today. Amy has been in the sales and marketing industry for over 2 decades. She is also an international corporate sales trainer, a Toastmaster member, and she has trained hundreds of sales professionals and entrepreneurs. Amy is also recognized as a Fortune 500 top sales performer and trainer. She has also worked closely with clinical teams to sharpen and have them hone and improve their sales and public speaking and negotiation skills. She is now currently the president of AIM Consulting and Training Incorporated. I am so grateful that you've decided to join me today, Amy. Right, Amy?
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. Give us some of those top secrets from zero to sales hero, how to double your sales and income in less than 90 days. Take it away.
Thank you, Valerie. I would love to share some of my top secrets. And what really inspired me to write my book is that I always told myself, if I can figure out what it takes to be successful in sales, I want to share it with the world.
Wow. Okay. And what are you going to share with the world? What is the first secret we need to know?
Well, the first secret is actually, I call it the AAA formula.
And
AAA? That stands, AAA. And it stands for attitude, accountability, and action.
Okay. All righty, I wrote those down. Attitude, accountability, and action. Are you going to tell us a little bit about each one of those to help us to understand what principles behind that drives that?
Absolutely. So let's talk a moment about, again, attitude, accountability, and action. And it's interesting because I remember being on a sales team and our sales leaders would always talk about how important our attitude was, and they had a phrase called shadow of a leader, and also be mindful of the shadow you cast. And I think that what I've come to learn, Valerie, is that when you're in sales, let's all face it, there's a lot of ups and downs, and the most important thing is that you have a positive attitude every day.
I get you. Got it. Okay. So your attitude is dependent on you, not the sales market all of the time.
That's right. It starts with you. And the other piece of that attitude is your accountability. And I think what happens, and honestly what happened to me, is I was a top sales performer. I was, really riding high on that wave one sales year. And then the next year, nothing seemed to go right, and I was blaming everybody but myself. I was saying it was my customers, it was my boss, it was the product, and then I woke up and realized I wasn't holding myself accountable for my results. And you got to set those goals, and you got to figure out what's going to take to meet them. So in my book, I actually talk about the importance of tracking your activity on a weekly and monthly basis.
Okay, so you have a tracker in there for them to use, or a system by which you can do that?
I do, and it's actually at my website, and my website is pretty easy to remember because it's the same title as my book. It's from zero to saleshero.com, And if you go to that website, I have a lot of bonuses. One of those bonuses, Valerie, is exactly what you just asked about, and that is an activity tracker.
Very good. I'm going to check that out myself. Like, is it downloadable, or can you print it out, or?
Yes, it's actually, I'm going to be up front. It's a very simple spreadsheet. I created it when I was still in sales, before I got into sales training, and it's Excel-based. So if you know how to use Excel, if you know how to use a keyboard on a computer, you can use it.
Okay, very good. And then what do we have for action?
So, yes, action. Action requires that you've got to be motivated and you've got to take action every day. And I really, really think about this in another term. One of my best sales mentors, he was an area vice president, and he always told me that you've got to go about your business with a sense of urgency, which means you've got to be proactive. You've got to you've got to, always under-promise, over-deliver, and then sales is all about action, and it's not just about meeting and making the phone calls and getting meetings scheduled, but once you get into that meeting, how am I going to influence that person to take action? And that's why action is just critical. So it's also action and urgency. You could always put those two words together.
Action and urgency. And I'm just learning. I know you're a great negotiator. And how does negotiation tie into all of this?
Valerie, that's a great question. I think that of all the negotiation courses I've ever done and in my own personal sales experience, it really comes down to a couple simple concepts. And the number one most important thing about negotiating is you got to go into the negotiation with a strategy. So what am I going to ask the customer for? How am I going to handle it if they say no? And then, what's my walk-away strategy? And I know that that might sound a little technical, but oftentimes we just go into that meeting thinking, well, if I just give them a discount or if I just give them a freebie, they're going to buy from me. And we find out that that's not really what they want. The other thing about negotiating, and I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yes, I can. It's far more than just the little tidbits here and there. You're right. It's very intricate and deep. Yes.
Yeah.
So what is the next top secret that we need?
So the next secret that I like to share is about the importance of following a sales process. And I started my career, I was first doing telemarketing, so I was the person that called you while you were eating dinner, and I tried to sell you the Amico multi-card. Oh, no.
Were you one of those, Amy?
I was, I confess, and hopefully your listeners will still accept me, but I did that early in my sales career, and then later in my sales career, I sold capital equipment to hospital executives, so I was dealing with, sales that were worth millions of dollars. So with all of that, there's a process you've got to follow. You've got to build rapport. You've got to ask people what their needs are. You've got to share insights with them. And then you've got to be able to handle objections, present your proposal, and ask for the commitment. Now, I've said that in just like 10 seconds, but in my book, I actually have 7 steps people can look at and read about. But there is a process.
Okay, and you detail that process out without leaving anything out. There's no stone unturned, so it's once they read, they would simply get it and understand it, correct?
That is right.
All right. And is there any other secret that we should know about? I think there was 3. That was 2. What was the third one?
Yeah, I think the third secret I have is it's called present to impress.
Oh, present to impress. I like that one.
Yeah.
Dress to impress. I would love to hear about it.
So, yes, so present to impress, what that really means is, and you did mention this earlier, Valerie, when you introduced me so wonderfully, that I am a distinguished Toastmaster, and I joined Toastmasters all because one time I had to give a presentation in front of an executive group, and my boss was in the room, and I completely froze, and I freaked out, And then I decided, if I'm going to continue to sell and, especially to expensive equipment, I've got to get better at presenting. And so I joined Toastmasters.
Very good.
And I recommend to everybody, whether you're a sales professional or an entrepreneur, that you can join Toastmasters. It's less than $100, give or take, a year. And you can get better at presenting yourself. And, whether you're in a group setting or you're one-on-one with someone, it really helps you communicate more clearly. And in sales, it really builds your confidence. So I really recommend that. And, again, I give some tips in my book about how you can be a better presenter today. But Toastmasters is another thing that I recommend to people.
All right. Sounds wonderful. So you've given us so many gold nuggets. I'm just so grateful for the call. We are going to bring it to the close. Is there anything that you want to tell our listeners at the end of this conclusion, Amy? Any bonuses?
Yes, Valerie.
Like the tracker?
Yeah, thank you for asking. That's a great question. And what I would invite everyone that's listening to this today, and yourself, Valerie, is to go to my website, FromZeroToSalesHero.com. And there's two things that they can do at that website. Number one, they can order my book. It's available in Kindle. It's available paperback. And they can also get some free bonuses. So I have a bonus chapter. I've got the activity tracker. I've got 4 or 5 other pieces of valuable tools that they can have by just going to a website and entering their name and their email address. And then the second request or the second idea I have for people is if you don't feel like going to my website and you just say, hey, I just want to go buy the book, you can also just go to Amazon, and the book is on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. But either way, I love to help people. Sales is my passion and my mission. And if anyone wants to get more information about how I'm helping individuals with sales coaching or corporate sales training, they can also email me at amy@aimwithamy.com.
Very cool. Amy, you were so power-packed. I mean, you have left us with a world of golden treats, golden nuggets, and I'm so happy. I just want to thank you for sharing with us today. And that concludes this call. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Valerie.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you again.
You're welcome. God bless.
God bless you, too.